What's going on, everybody? Jimmy from Clockwork Industries. Welcome back to another Clockwork gaming video for Diablo Immortal. And this one, I'm going to break down the newest update to my dungeon build that I've been using. I did a video a while back where I was using 7-sided strike for Firestorm. This is also a Firestorm build. It does very good in single target damage and in group damage. Today in the Shadow War, I did pretty solid. I usually go into the support group, and I did like 10.7% of the damage, and I'm at 3k res. Jex is 7k, so I'm usually in double digit in the damage ratio. And basically that's because I'm able to drop my Cyclone Strike on the boss, and I have continual damage the whole time, even if the boss is doing knockbacks or fears or whatever happens. And if I got to run out and heal, I'm able to drop the Cyclone. It's always critting, and I'm able to continually have damage going off while I'm not even attacking. But I'm going to go through and show you all the essences. And I've been running Gloom on the Monk ever since I switched to Monk. I ran 4-set Vithus for like the first week or so, because those were the gear pieces that I had at the time. It was like the first ones I came across. And I think when I started Monk, you couldn't even craft yet, so I was just farming Vithus. That was one of the meta builds at the time. It hadn't been nerfed yet, and I ended up switching over to Gloom even before that, and I've been going because the crit on Gloom is just excellent. It's a great filler, especially for your other attacks when Firestorm isn't going on. So I run 4-set Gloom, 2-set Urge. I'm really just running the Urge because it boosts the uptime on my Blessing. And I found some really good Urge boots in our Warband stash. I rolled a pretty decent belt, so I've just been going with the Urge 2-set. So it keeps the Blessing, which is a great buff for your party, for your dungeon. It gives you 35% damage inside the Sanctuary when you drop it. So 35% damage, extra uptime. It's a pretty solid combination. I also run Storm Spirit Chest. The name of that is Empathy's Blessing. I run Storm Spirit Chest Piece, which is the Cyclone Strike now generates a powerful tornado. When this drops, this is what helps create the Firestorm. Any kind of wind and fire combination in this game creates Firestorm, which is automatic critical hits for all your attacks. So I guess my Blessing just killed these guys, but I'll show you an example right here really quick, and I'll continue going through it. You drop your Cyclone Strike. Well, if Wave of Light doesn't one-shot everything. Let me see if I can find a pack that won't die instantly. So it says Firestorm, and then basically anything that hits your tornado is going to be a big critical hit. Not huge numbers, but Cyclone Strike would normally only be hitting for 4,000 for me. If you had double my damage, it would go up from there, obviously. So we have the chest piece creates a tornado. Shimmerlin Shoulders. Wave of Light got a buff in the last patch for Monk, so that's why you're seeing it in my previous video for PvP. Now it's pretty dang powerful, especially if you're running it with Gloom and you're getting big crits. It can hit pretty hard. You're gonna hear a lot of people talking about it. There's a Reddit post about it and everything. It's a pretty beefy attack. And Wave of Light previously was a really low power skill. Shimmerlin always did pretty well, but it was pretty situational. And there are a lot of good shoulder pieces for Monk. Like the previous Monk build for PvP was you wanted your 2 stuns from the shoulder. Now that the new the Mystic Strike pants are out, and that's what I'm also using in the dungeon build. This is what I use to trigger all my Gloom procs. I previously was using Kick in the other build with 7-sided strike and the Cyclone. Now I'm using Mystic Strike with the Cyclone and Shimmerlin. And what I like about this is Shimmerlin has 2 charges, Cyclone or 7-sided strike only has 1. And I do think that this actually does more damage, especially big burst damage on groups. You can proc it twice and drop your Cyclone, and it pretty much wipes everything out. And then just as some secondary stuff, I'm running the newest main hand, Unyielding Doctrine. This main hand procs 10% chance on Fist of Thunder to boost your attack speed by 50% for 1 second. The other thing I noticed about this, and I said in the PvP video, because I do use this in my PvP spec as well, I don't believe that there's an internal cooldown on this. Because it only lasts for 1 second, I think you could proc this back to back to back to back. And this is a good filler for not having a 4-set Vithus buff. So I've been using this. It's pretty helpful in this build for single target damage. I can have my Cyclone Strike going, and then when I'm punching, I can get that attack speed buff. And then for my offhand, I'm using the new offhand, which charges with lightning. This is pretty nice because if these hits are critting, they do decent damage, and it's just good AoE dungeon kind of damage. You can probably put fillers in for both of these if you wanted to, and there's other things that'll work in there, but this is what I've been going with, and I really like it. So I basically will go in. A lot of stuff here is going to die pretty quickly. I probably should have went into a dungeon, but you'll drop your Sanctuary, drop your Cyclone Strike, and then you would drop your Shimmerlin, and then like dash in. Usually I start everything with a dash in. So it would be dash in, drop Blessing, Cyclone Strike, Shimmerlin, whoops. And then you could Cyclone, or you can dash again. Keep your Mystic, your Gloom buff up as much as you can. Pretty much with, if you spread it out good enough, you can almost have Gloom buff up pretty much nonstop, or at least for a long interim period of time. Like your initial probably 15 seconds of a fight, you're going to be able to have your Gloom buff up full time, which is an insane amount of crit. So not only is your Cyclone Strike nonstop critting, all of your other stuff has a high chance and high probability to crit. And that is basically the build. It's pretty straightforward. I really like Mystic Strike. I've been using these since we got these essences. What I like about it is it's a full range. This is like basically the full range. I think this is like the size of a banner, but I like the pinpoint dashes more so than the short one direction dashes like that. They're just easier to place and easier to locate, and you have the longer range on them. So we'll see if I can blow up everything here. But I'll basically dash in. I'll drop this, Shimmerlin. And then what's nice is in certain packs, in a dungeon, obviously everything's not getting completely one-shot, so it'll walk everything, especially melee characters. They'll basically just walk in towards you, and you'll be standing on your tornado. They'll walk right in the Firestorm and eventually die. But this has been a pretty solid build. It does great in raids. It does great. I pretty much get a chest of glory all the time. It does well in Shadow War on the tank and spank and support, and it does great in dungeons. So it's a pretty solid all-around build. I really like the Firestorm, and I like putting Shimmerlin and everything now because it's got the damage buff. So you might as well try to use it, optimize for that. The extra little AOE from those sparks is pretty nice. The Fist of Thunder buff, you can see it up here. It's the little glowing fist, and it seems like it'll proc like back to back. I wish they had a better... Yeah, there it is again. Maybe if there is an internal cooldown, it's only a few seconds. Because 10% is pretty high. So, like, you're basically punching, it procs, it goes down, and then it pops back up again. But yeah, I wish there was, like, a World of Warcraft type, like, where it is again. 1, 2... There it is again. Not even 3 seconds, it was back up again. So I do not think there's an internal cooldown on the Fist of Thunder. It's just the 10% on a Fist of Thunder to proc it. There it is again. So it's some pretty solid single target burst damage, which is a good filler because your 2 single target pieces are going to be your Cyclone Strike and then your Fist of Thunder. Shimmerlin also, I guess, but it's more of an AoE blast, ideally. Mystic Strike is technically an AoE because you can hit a whole group. It'll hit everybody around you. But yeah, that is the dungeon build. Let me know what you guys think. Give it a shot. Try it out. Give me some feedback on it. Let me know. It seems to be performing pretty well. I've been doing pretty good in Shadow War every week with it, like I said, and no problems in dungeons and raids. And it's also a fun build to play. Every build I've tried on the Monk is super fun. That's what I really like about this class is there are a lot of variations. And I get people in the comments that are like, oh, you don't need to use this. You can use this. For the most part, other than like a few key pieces on each build, there's a lot of things that like are like the staple of the build, but then you can swap anything out and it's still a viable build. And it is really going to boil down to having those key features, the couple of things that create synergy like Firestorm or whatever, and then everything else is however you want to play it and whatever you have fun doing, whatever skills you like to play with the most. It's a really like versatile class with a lot of different options. I really like that about Monk. So if I do swap out the different classes, which I do plan on doing, I'm probably always going to return to Monk as my home class because there's just so many options and it's a lot of fun. The playstyle is great, and I really enjoy it. So if you guys like the video, if you like the build, let me know in the comments. Oh yeah, if you like the video, hit the subscribe button, like button, all that stuff. And yeah, that'll be it for this one. Twitch link will be down in the bottom. Try to go live every morning at 7 a.m. Come and join us. Do battlegrounds, dungeons, raids. We do the raids every Monday and Thursday, and then we'll usually do morning battlegrounds. Run some bounties and contracts right when we get started, and then roll into the battlegrounds and then run some dungeons and do the raids and stuff. So you're all welcome to come and hang out in the mornings there on Twitch, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.